Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about how to use the word of the day practice to solve problems. So let's define what a problem is. You have several kinds of problems. We have practical problems, like how we're going to pay our rent. We have emotional problems, like how can we feel better about ourselves, or how can we not be upset about a difficult situation, or how can we manage grief. And then we have physical problems, like, your toe hurts, what do you got to do about it? Or you have, I don't know, spilkus, and you need to get rid of your stomach acid or whatever. But the point here is that in the metaphysical world, since the only thing that's really going on there is your mind, the physical problems that have to do with your body are in a separate category, which is great. So you can use your mind to solve these problems because the word of the day allows you to sort of plug yourself in a way that you can't normally. It's almost like you can access this battery pack that is, it's in your nervous system. There is a physical basis, which is relevant, but not today. And the idea is that by doing the word of the day and starting off with the little practice I'm going to show you, you get into a much more powerful place with yourself. It's almost like you have a hidden mentor who can come and help you solve these problems. But what we're not taught to do is how to get there and how to ask. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So I'm me, I have a problem. What's my problem? I don't know. I have a cold, let's just say. All right, I have a cold and I need to get rid of it because I have to give a talk. So that's in my body. And now I'm going to work on the word of the day practice, which I do every day. And today I'm not going to do a general practice. I'm going to work on a problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remember that one of the reasons you get colds is that you're run down and you're tired. And that very often a cold is your body's nice way of telling you need to chill out and take some more sleep. And it's only when you ignore it that it turns into a flu. So this is something practical that I want you to take on, which is almost everything that happens to you is there to actually help you in some way, if you're willing to see the opportunity. So the concept that a cold is an opportunity may be hard to reckon, but if you think about it, it makes sense. The body's saying, look, slow down, take it easy. And so a way to work with it is, okay, I've got this cold, but I've got to be able to talk and make a speech or whatever. What am I going to do? So you say, okay, let's see what the word of the day can do for me. So get to a quiet space, sit down. And it's good to sit on your sit bones because when your body's in alignment, all the brain chemicals and everything else flows better. So you rock on your sit bones and make sure you're kind of here. And then you do something I call gathering. And gathering is a way of separating you from the blah, blah, blah that's going around the world, including your problems. So I'm going to raise my arms up like this, and I'm going to pretend that this is a knife, and that I'm cutting through space and time and water, almost as if my hands are going through water in a pool. And I'm separating, I'm saying everything outside my hands, that's that, and everything in here is only me. And so I get to only be with myself. So if I have a problem, it's not going to be connected to lots of other stuff. It's only going to be with what's here. Once you do that, you take a breath, and you'll already feel better. You may feel like releasing some tension, which is fine. Do that. Follow your body on this one, And then you're going to go into a self-hug. Put your hands on your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Either look in your mirror, look in the phone, or close your eyes and say, I love you and your name. We'll always be together and we'll always be safe. And take a breath and smile. And that smile sends a shot of dopamine up to your brain, which makes you feel good. It's the reward center, and breathing obviously makes you feel good, even if you have a bad cold. And then what you can do is settle down, and you do a word of the day cluster about your cold. And you put the cold in the center of the thing, and then you set your timer for 2 minutes, and you allow these images, which are seemingly related or not related. This is not a technique where you're supposed to find like-minded things. It's not when you're in an office setting where you're brainstorming about a project. This is a completely different use of a process. So when you think of the word cold, what comes up? Well, one thing that comes up for me is standing on a lake that has mist over it in winter and it's covered in snow. And another thing that might come up for me is someone being cold, or a thermometer, or things like this. Now, what happens when you work imagistically is that deeper part of your brain, that battery pack that I talked about inside your brain, works in language, not in language, okay, but image is better. And so that first image that I got of the frozen lake is a very clear reference to a dead place. Nothing can happen there because it's too cold, it's frozen. And so if I'm paying attention, I'm going to get the fact that maybe that's kind of what's going on with me. So I'm in a frozen place because I'm cold, or I have a cold, make that translate. And that what I need to do is wait until spring, until something thaws, right? And the point is, now that I'm talking to myself in metaphor, it doesn't mean that I have to wait till spring. What it means is I have to give it a little time for it to warm up. You see where I'm going with this? And so then, you don't really have a problem at that point, right? You have a situation where you recognize the body's wisdom, and so you can be more self-accepting, and you stop beating yourself up for not wearing an overcoat or whatever it was that you think is the reason you have a cold. And now that you're back into unity with yourself, which, by the way, was the real problem, back to the fact that you're willing to say, okay, my body is trying to help me, I'm going to see if I can participate in this, then you can take steps. Now, if you have to give a speech, okay, you can do things to temporarily ease your throat, right? Or get rid of your sniffles. You can take pills or whatever. And then, even though you might decide to do that, you don't have the problem because you've recognized that what's actually going on is a conversation between you and your body about what you need to do to take care of yourself and be in a state of self-acceptance. So if you find this interesting, come join us on social media, maybe take a webinar and see how this can work for you.